Hey, Tyler Price here with Austin Cade Academy and Lyle Model Barbershop. Today in the 67 Bug, I have Renae Oswald, owner of East Idaho Entrepreneur and Oswald Service and Repair. I guess you're by default owner, or because that's a third
like a
generation.
Co-owner. Yeah. You know, Kevin and I own it together.
Yes.
He does the actual work, and I just kind of show up and smile
And boss him around a little bit.
boss him around.
That's
yeah.
good.
Mm-hmm.
But third generation, is there going to be a fourth generation?
Yeah, because
Wow.
we have this cute boy that's working with us. That's my son, and he thinks he would like to do it for his career too. So
Wow.
we'll have fourth generation.
Fourth generation, you know, here in small town Idaho Falls. You grew up here.
Yeah.
Okay, so growing up in Idaho Falls, Ammon area, right? What was that like? And we'll just get kind of going too.
So I love that you asked me that because I grew up in Ammon, and it was like Old Town Ammon.
Yeah.
So where the old city office was, I lived on Mullen, which is right down the road, and all of the places where there's buildings now, there were fields, and one of my favorite memories is we used to ride our bikes all over there. So like where Hillcrest is and and Rollum's, all of that was fields.
Just fields, yeah.
And so across Sunnyside, and that was my favorite memory because it was just the Wild West out there, man.
Yeah.
And the hospital then decided to build. It was so weird to have the hospital out there because it was like in the middle of nothing.
Yeah, and now it's kind of like the big section of where we live.
Everything has grown up around there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I had similar. I grew up primarily in Salt Lake and in Sandy and Draper area. Sandy was like the end of the world. Draper was all like dairy farms, and we used to go out there and shoot guns and four-wheel and do all that.
Not now.
And no, you couldn't do that now.
No kidding.
Yeah, things grow and develop, right? So that's
My
a good
daughter
thing.
lives in Lehigh, and I think it was probably the end of the world.
That was. There was like the rolling, the mill place there.
Sticking out by itself, and now it's like solid. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, that's cool. So you're East Idaho Entrepreneur, which is a hard word for me to say.
Yes, I made that on purpose,
Yes,
just
thank
so
you.
that you would struggle.
and yeah, spell it. No, I couldn't. Never.
I have to sound it out on entrepreneurs, and then I can
Yes.
spell it.
And you've done, like you said, 75 episodes, and thank you. You had me on, so
Okay,
you were
so
really.
let's just say that you were the 75th episode.
Yes.
So for those of you guys who don't know what East Idaho Entrepreneurs is, it's a podcast, and I get to interview local entrepreneurs and business owners and influencers and tell their origin stories because they're so fun. For so long as business owners, Kevin and I thought we were the only ones that didn't know what the crap we were doing. And so when I started learning, we knew as much as anybody else.
Yes.
You just do the best that you can.
And then you're like, this is scary.
And I'm like, yeah, and we're all making it. And,
Yeah.
But when I could hear stories like your story and be like, okay, so Tyler went through these things, it's not that dissimilar from what we're going through.
Yeah.
He made it. I can make it too.
Yeah.
And so that was, I was really inspired by this show from NPR that Guy Raz does. It's called How I Built This. And he talks to major players,
Yeah.
like Steve Madden and Bob's Red Mill and names I can't come up with right now, but big players. And those were inspiring. One time I heard the story about burgers. What's it called? Five Guys?
Yeah, Five Guys.
Yeah. And it's a family business that he started with his sons. And that was like, oh my gosh, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so it was, that was my inspiration to start kind of thinking about doing the show.
Yeah, and there's like, even though we are small town Idaho, there is big business happening here with people that grew up here. So it's interesting that you kind of say that because, you're doing this podcast, but, whether you're in small town Idaho or big New York, you have these people that are driven to do things and they just go do it. And it's amazing.
Well, and some of the people that I've interviewed, I can't even believe that I've been able to interview them. I interviewed Alan Reed a couple of weeks ago, and he's just this humble man. And you think about his products and how well known they are to all of us.
Yeah.
And he, it's a family business. It was a farm. It's just that kind of stuff.
My favorite thing is to eat because he owns a dairy, and but they make their ice cream. Their chocolate milk is amazing. I am a chocolate milk connoisseur, but yeah, you can eat the ice cream and be right there with the cows all at the same time. That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, and those are the cows that are actually providing the product.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's just stuff like that. I mean, stories from that to just, influencers who are doing stuff every day that they have this huge following, and it's just fascinating to see the lives that they're living and inspiring people around. And so I've just had so much fun with the podcast. Do you want to know why I started?
Yes, that was going to actually be my next question.
Oh,
so
I took it out of
your...
your...
No, you go right ahead.
Here's the thing, guys. I got to interview Tyler the other day. You guys will hear his show on Thursday. But he's getting back at me, right? Because now he gets to ask me all the questions. So the reason I started the show is that we had 2 years ago, we opened a new location in Rexburg, Idaho. And so Kevin had kind of challenged me with you're the marketing person, figure out how we're going to market this. Yeah. And I had been studying a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk, if anybody knows this guy.
Yeah.
And
really, I mean, that guy is like a church-going, clean language, and he's good. He's a good person.
I do listen to his curse-free. Yeah. But
is there any content at that point?
Yeah, it's just all a bunch of bleeps.
Sorry.
But he does have a lot of great ideas as far as making marketing, and he was talking about really being everywhere, and I thought I would do a vlog, and every week I would get on and do a different, a video blog around car care and stuff. Well, it took me about 2 weeks. I don't know crap about cars, and I'm like, Kevin's gonna have to be involved in this, and no way I'm gonna get him on that. He doesn't want to do that. Yeah. So I thought, no, there's something else for me, and that's when I was listening. I listened to How I Built This, and I happened to be reading something, I think, in Crushing It, and it kept coming back to podcast, and I was like, this is it. And I'm just gonna do a service. I'm gonna interview local, like I said, local people, and we're going to tell their stories, and that's going to be sponsored by Oswald Service. Wow. And that'll be our thing. Yeah. And that's our thing, and I just love it because it is a service. I don't ask anything from the people that I interview other than just your time and a picture. Yeah. Thanks for your pictures.
Yes, I did. I finally got them over too.
You should see what he sent me. You will not be seeing the one where he has this mask and glasses. Yeah. That one's not going to make it.
That was the picture of me going into a bank, actually. That's how they make you go into banks. Yeah. Well, that's awesome that it just kind of came to you, and instead of saying, oh no, I can't do that, you just went for it.
Who was I to do it? I'm a nurse. I mean, not that nurses can't do this stuff, but I'm not a techie. Yeah. I'm not a news person, but I knew how to interview people and talk. I can do that.
You're good at that, right?
Right. So I was like, you know what? I'll figure out the rest. I took a podcast course, and you just do it. You just put yourself out there and do it.
Well, you came in, you had your stuff, and even when we were talking, because we were in an office area at the Small Business Development Center, someone came in and you had to stop
Pause it,
and then they did what they did, and then they left, and then you picked it right back up. So there's some science to it too, but you get better at it, right? Because your first podcast, who was your first podcast?
Kevin.
Yes, that makes sense, right?
Yes, so we did Oswald Service first, of course. And so, if you listen to that one as compared to your episode, there's a difference in how well, I can conduct an interview. Yeah, We're going through some major sprinklers, guys. Oh, yeah. We made it.
Yeah. So, then it's, what are the plans? Do you have plans for the podcast? Because, like this thing that I do, and I was doing it, honestly, before Jerry Seinfeld was. He has a better one than I do. He does cooler stuff, so it's not that I'm saying that Jerry copied me. He edits his. So that's funny because we were sitting there talking about that, and I said, I don't edit mine. And the reason is, one reason is you like it raw, but the real reason is I don't know how to edit. So.
Well, guess what? Neither do I. Yeah. I have this great friend called James Ogden of Disruptive Production that does all of my edits.
Yeah, and he does great work.
Yeah, and it was easier for me to have him do that than for me to learn all the details of it. So there's hope for you.
Yes. Well, I don't know. I'll take the hope that you're giving that there's hope for me. But what is there something bigger that you want from it, or that you would like to see? Because it's cool, people listening to people talk and stuff, but is there a bigger play
here? Bigger dream? There really isn't.
Yeah.
I will tell you, Oswald Service was on season 7 of Startup. We were episode 7, season 7, and the way that they found us was because of the podcast.
Mission accomplished there.
It's just given us an opportunity and a platform. It's a way that we can serve the community serve other businesses, and that's really what the intent was. Our service is in our name.
Yeah.
And it's in our name because we used to be a full service. We pumped your gas and we did all of that stuff. And we don't do that anymore. And people are like, why is, Oswald Service? Well, we want to be able to use that in the community and show that, we're not just here for automotive service. We want to be a service to the community. And this is a way that it gets us out there to serve our fellow businessmen. And what I love the best is that it's a platform to get to know your neighbors better.
Yeah.
A lot of times as business owners, we can sometimes get a bad reputation. Not a bad reputation, but a reputation for, well, you own a business, Tyler. You must have it all made and everything. And we're just like, I'm hoping I'm going to make payroll this week, right? Yeah. It's one of those things that I don't think people really understand. You said it the best in the show that we'd rather work 80 hours a week and barely make it for half the pay than work a 40-hour week for double the income. Yeah, so, we're a little crazy.
Yeah.
And so for people to get to know us better as business owners, understand we're just families trying to make it. That was another reason. It's not the audience is not just other businesses.
Yeah.
It's everyone to get to know your neighbor better.
Yeah. So which kind of brings up a thought, because you guys have been around going on 4th generation.
Yeah.
And business has changed from the very beginning to where it is now. Because you mentioned service, like there was a time when no one pumped their gas. You'd pull in, they check your oil. Those days have gone, right?
Very much.
But then being a small family business, that's kind of a big deal in our community. But when you get a bad review, for instance, so I think this allows people to see, hey, these are just regular people. I mean, people feel so comfortable sitting behind a computer and just lighting. Have you guys ever had a bad review?
Oh my gosh, I guess we probably have had a few bad reviews, yes. Especially where automotive repair is concerned.
Yeah.
You can't please everybody. No. We do the best we can.
But so how do you, I mean, this is just kind of, I guess, a platform too, in my opinion, that would allow people to see that, hey, these are just regular people too. So
I think so. I think it gives us a little bit, it humanizes us, it makes it not that sign. It's actually people behind it.
Yeah.
There's people behind it, every business, and especially these small businesses. Like we're trying to feed our family and do the best that we can. Yeah, we're going to screw up, and I hope that we can make it right for you.
Yeah.
But give us a chance. Let's just talk.
Yeah. No, and I'm good with bad reviews, just so people know, but I'm not going to let you get away with it. I'm going to come right underneath that review and respond in a very professional manner, but in my head, maybe not as professional as what I'm able to type out. But.
Well, what I loved, we had a review in Rexburg once. Somebody challenged us about a price, which was it wasn't really even appropriate to the post. And I reached out to him in a private message and I said, I just really need to understand why you're so angry about this, because this doesn't really have anything to do with, and he came back, he apologized, he took down the thing. And I think sometimes we just need to not tell ourselves a story about what's going on. Reach out, have a conversation.
How about that?
It doesn't happen so much anymore.
No, which is too bad. But I don't know, there's good and bad, right? And everything.
Yes. So
kind of a question you asked me, I'm going to ask back to you, but what do you say to someone has a dream? Because I did kind of say, fear kills more dreams than failure ever will, and I truly believe that. But there are people here in Eastern Idaho, there's people throughout the United States that don't pull the trigger because of fear or because of whatever. But what do you say to someone to motivate them to chase that dream?
I think the thing that has helped me the most is that I had some advice once where control is an illusion, right?
Yeah.
And we think that we can plan out everything and it's going to work exactly that way. You definitely need a plan, but all you have control of is this very moment, right this second.
Yeah.
So what you're doing right now is all that really matters. And so take that first step. Put your toe in. Just go for it. And I told you when we were on the show, I've had 75 guests, and every one of them practically that I've asked that question for, everyone is like, just go for it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there. So don't freak yourself out with the what ifs and the perfectionism. That's an illusion of control.
Yeah.
Just take that first step. I'm sure that if somebody came back and really critiqued all of the stuff that I've done, there's a million things that I've done wrong. But that I'm still here.
So yeah,
right? I haven't died.
You're still doing it,
and nobody, I'm still. You just learn from it and you move forward and you don't let it defeat you.
Yeah,
that's easier said than done, but it's really the best advice.
No, I love that about the control too, because and you're right. You have to have a plan, but I have yet to have something work out according to plan. And,
I know.
And Mike Tyson, who I don't anyway, Mike Tyson said something that I think is very applicable here. He said, everybody has a plan until I punch him in the face, or something along those lines. So,
and then the plan is gone.
Yeah.
Well, then life will punch you in the face, because that's always what happens.
Yeah.
And then you go to plan B, and it's okay. And you never have to feel like, oh, I'm a failure. That was your university of learning.
Yeah.
And then you get to move on and go forward. And so many times that fear of failure held me back. And I'm glad that I have grown beyond that.
Yeah, and Renee's just awesome. She's a nurse. She's done the podcast now. She's working in a shop. She's working on other things, which, they're to be announced.
Stuff, yeah. I'm coaching and doing stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was in a group, a mastermind group that you were there as a guest, and you were giving solid advice to somebody that needed to hear it. And
thank you.
And I don't know that they were listening necessarily.
Not everybody
neither
listens.
here nor there, but yeah, how is that? Because my wife kind of faces this challenge though at times where, oh, look at the cute little blonde in the room, and you are giving like solid advice, solid instruction. So how do women in business or anything kind of overcome that? Because it's gonna.
Oh, Tyler, this is a big can of worms you're opening.
Well, because I watch it regularly. So
I was in corporate America for 27 years.
Yes. And you nurses, what do you know? The doctors. Anyway, sorry, I should shut up and let you answer.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, it was healthcare, and as much as there's so many women that are there, it's still men that lead in healthcare. I was in a meeting with our group president and our division presidency. All of them were there. There were probably 25 of the minions. There were 3 women.
Yeah.
And I was one of them. And it's oftentimes I'm not taken seriously.
Yeah.
But I love that. Like, bullies are my favorite because I love being able to prove to them that, I actually do know what I'm talking about. I think that oftentimes there have been chances that I've not heard, and I just have to probably prove myself a little bit more than maybe my male counterparts have. But it's okay. I realize that it's a challenge for me, and I actually kind of love it. So I appreciate Allison so much, because we do kind of get this reputation like, well, what do you know? But sometimes that plays to my favor, because I can play stupid when I'm really not being stupid, and I get a lot of information.
That's funny, because growing up in Salt Lake, I had this Tongan friend, and if he ever got in trouble, which happened occasionally, his parents just acted like they couldn't speak English, and that was their way of dealing with the situation. So similar philosophy. It's like, okay, well, then I'll just.
Well, there's no possible way I could have known that. So you're right.
Yeah.
And then I've used it to my advantage. I do think that it can really defeat people if they allow it, but I've used it to my advantage on occasion.
Just watching you and being around you, I can definitely see that, because you're wicked smart. You got great advice, and you're out chasing dreams, and you're doing all these things, and everyone should do it, right?
It makes me laugh that you say I'm wicked smart, because I still have that imposter syndrome a little bit. I'll tell you, when I graduated from high school, I had a 2.7 grade point average.
Oh, you were higher than me.
Was I higher than you? Well, Allison will tell you why. I was a little focused on other things rather than school. But, it's taken me a long time to realize that I probably do have some... I'm quick on understanding concepts. Yeah. And I do really have empathy and try to understand how other people are experiencing life, so that I can help with whatever wisdom I can bring to the table.
Yeah. Well, keep doing that.
Thank you.
Well, I'm grateful that we got in the bug. We've been talking about it for a minute, and grateful I was on East Idaho.
Yeah, listen to it Thursday, you guys. It's Tyler.
I will share it too. Just I don't like to listen to myself talk, but I will get that out there, and we're gonna throw this up. And any parting words of advice or anything?
I just would say, life is great, you guys, and I think we are dealing with so many challenges right now that can really get the better of us. Look for the good, because there's so much good, and there's so much good happening in our community, and we can just all contribute to that, and it's okay. We can get through this.
We can get through this.
Yes.
We are going to get through this.
Absolutely.
So. All right. Well, I'm Tyler. This is Renae, and you need your car worked on.
Come to Oswald Service and Repair.
There we go.
Idaho Falls and Rexburg.
And Rexburg, and if you need to listen to a cool, and where do they find it? Because I just follow it on Facebook.
Podcast is on every major podcast player platform, so iTunes or Google Play or wherever you find your podcast, Spotify. But you can always listen to it on the website as well, which is eastidahoentrepreneurs.com.
Good luck spelling it.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great day.